Hello, everyone. This is Adam with PsychedelicInvest.com. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful, wonderful day today. So, in today's episode, I'm going to be just kind of catching everyone up on where we are right now in terms of all the stuff going on in regards to MindMed, and also giving my perspective on everything going on with MindMed. So, in terms of the latter, my perspective, I think I'm in a pretty interesting position to give my perspective, as I've spoken to both MindMed and the Freemans at length at this point. I've been asked about kind of how I feel about everything, so I have no problems making this video. So that's what this video is going to be. It's going to be like me giving like kind of a timeline of when my feeling about a timeline of how I've been feeling about MindMed from, let's say, at some point last year up until today. And I'll just walk everyone through my thought process and where I'm at right now. So without further ado, let's just jump right into that. All right, so in regards to MindMed, so the first thing that occurred with MindMed and me in terms of me kind of starting to feel a little bit more bearish than I was feeling at a different point. My first sense of like a bearish feeling in regards to MindMed was when they acquired Health Mode, that telemedicine app thing that they acquired. So I thought that was like frivolous spending. I didn't think it was necessary for them to buy this company. I don't know what they're doing with it up until this point. I figured the money would be better well spent in terms of pushing drugs with FDA trials and stuff like that. That stuff is extremely, extremely expensive. Thought it was way too early for them to start looking into the Health Mode and digital health and whatnot. So like that was when my feelings first started where I started to question things a bit more. I was like, I don't think this is so smart. And essentially that was like the first notch where I was like, I'm not that thrilled about this move. So, and then we'll fast forward it a little bit, and then we get to the point where I was already kind of starting to question things regarding MindMed, and then the reverse split was announced. So when the reverse split was announced, I was very, very vocal in terms of how I did not like it at all. I thought the timing of it was garbage. I thought that, in my opinion, their outstanding shares, their float wasn't that crazy or egregious to begin with. I didn't think it was that necessary to bring it in line with, let's say, a Tie and Compass. I understand the logic there. I just didn't see that as a retail-friendly move. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to reverse split as a biotech company, and I know there are examples that can be shown of companies that have shown strength after reverse split, but it's few and far between. And there has to be some, and like I said, if a company is going to reverse split, there should be some positive catalysts on the horizon to support the stock price. Reverse splitting with no positive catalyst on the horizon, you'd have a hard time supporting the stock price. And on top of that, shorts will just pile on, which I think we pretty much saw happen. So the reverse split was the first thing. So MindMed's basically stated they wanted to stay compliant with the NASDAQ, institutional investing, and stuff like that. Once again, I respect that response, but at the end of the day, MindMed is mostly held by retail. I thought that it would be a more retail-friendly move to take the delistment on the chin and then try and provide an organic appreciation in stock price. So we'll have catalysts coming up and just try and get uplisted to the NASDAQ again if possible. But listen, I do understand the perspective of we do not want to give up our position on the NASDAQ or our compliance with the NASDAQ under any circumstances. So once again, that's fine. I get it. So I that was my perspective, but I also get MindMed's perspective. And then the reverse split that soon followed. So once again, this is another thing that rubbed me the wrong way. I understand that dilution in general for a lot of these early stage biotech companies is a very real reality, especially when we have just market uncertainty like we do right now. So I totally get that. Once again, I just think the timing of everything was garbage. You just reverse split. Now we're going to announce dilution. So or they will just dilute at the end of the day. Whether they announced it or not, it was like they already had the offering that they had submitted months before. So it's just about the time that they took advantage of the offering. So at the end of the day, once again, that just to me was a head scratcher. Usually you'd want to reverse split and then have some positive catalyst on the horizon. Maybe MindMed was just trying to rip the Band-Aid off completely, and they're like, listen, we'll take this on the chin, we'll reverse split, we'll dilute because we need to dilute for funding, and that's just what it's going to be. It's going to suck for a little while, but maybe they know something behind the scenes where they have a catalyst maybe up their sleeve where they're like, at some point this should help us recover a lot of our losses. I don't know, I'm just speculating here. But basically the reverse split and the dilution really threw me off, and that's when I started to flip a like heavy bearish on MindMed in terms of what they were doing. So MindMed's perspective in regards to the dilution was, and this is when I spoke to Robert Barrow, you can see it in that interview with him, on the interview that I did with Robert Barrow. Essentially, he said that they have experts who can kind of forecast and assess the markets, and they decided that dilution at that current moment was going to be the best bet because there is a lot of uncertainty in the markets, and they didn't want to lose the price that they didn't want to lose the price that they could have diluted at the point when they did it. If, for example, if they waited, let's say 8 months and the stock markets were in a worse position, they wouldn't be getting as much value for each share that they sell. So I understand that perspective. I do totally get that perspective, and I accept that from MindMed as well. So my perspective on both the dilution and the reverse split both just showed me that MindMed is basically signaling that they have no catalyst up their sleeve that can likely move the needle anytime soon. So they had to do this. They had to make these moves in order to, number one, support the stock price and remain NASDAQ compliant, and number two, to also just raise funds because they don't know how easy or difficult it's going to be to raise funds and what prices they might be able to do it in the future. Let's say, for example, a year from now. So it just doesn't signal the most confidence from a company in regards to an investor. To me, for me, that those were signals, and once again, I'm walking you through my thought process. That to me was a bearish signal from the company, both of those things. So with that said, I just want to mention too, so a lot of companies will look to raise money when they need to raise money. It's just the nature of biotech. So I think Atai is a great example of this as well. They said, if we dilute at these prices, at the prices they were trading at that time, which was I think around $4, they were like, we're not getting enough value for our shares. We believe that our shares are worth a lot more money than this. So what they did is they took non-dilutive financing, I think with like a 10% interest rate or something like that, from a different company that has nothing to do with the stock market. And that's what they did to basically, number one, signal confidence to investors. And to show that, hey, we really believe in the stock price, that we are going to get non-dilutive financing. Now, obviously, all companies are not going to go about things the same way. Atai is a completely different beast than what MindMed is. But at the end of the day, it's stuff like that which helps with investor sentiment. And that's something that MindMed has been losing in a very big way over the course of the last year. All right, so we have the dilution, the reverse split. Okay, so the next big thing to come up here was the entrance of basically the Freeman Capital Management into the picture. So they definitely threw MindMed's community into a loop, to say the least. The allegations were tremendous. The unredacted court documents were pretty significant in my opinion. And it's just, if anything holds to be true in terms of what Freeman Capital Management is saying, that would be, in my opinion, catastrophic for MindMed. It's just at a point where investor sentiment is at an all-time low. For stuff like this to come out, it's just really, really not a good look for a company. The optics are horrible. So we have the two perspectives around Jake Freeman and Freeman Capital Management. We have one perspective, which is they're all bullshitting. They're just trying to stir up some FUD, and there's no reality in the claims that they're making. That's one perspective that I keep seeing around. Another one is that they might have a short position. And then we have the other camp, which is basically like, it's good that they brought this up. If there is some shenanigans that went on behind the scenes at MindMed or are going on at MindMed, the investors need to know about it. And that's what the whole thing is about. It's about disclosures and letting investors know about deals that were or weren't made. So what I'll say in regards to the Freemans is this, is at the end of the day, whether you like them or not, they are doing, at the end of the day, whether you like them or not, if there is even like 20% of what they're claiming is true, then it's good that they came out and they were public with everything. Like, this is stuff that as an investor you want to know about. You cannot just bury your head in the sand and hope that stuff like this goes away. So just look at it like this: we have numerous psychedelic companies right now. Some of them have had some drama. Most have not had any type of salacious drama coming out in regards to like old management, IP, this, that, and the other. So out of that whole sample size of all these psychedelic companies, why is MindMed the only one that's having this kind of trouble, or that has like the severity of the allegations like that have been brought up against Stephen Hurst and Turnbull, and also that is connecting MindMed to everything? It's just pretty significant. So from like the perspective of if I didn't know anything about these biotech companies and I was just getting into the space and I was reading anything about MindMed and this stuff started coming up, I would stay the hell away. This is, once again, it's a very, very, it's a stain on MindMed's reputation right now. So MindMed's going to need to navigate this and do a lot of damage control. Now, I'm going to be jumping between perspectives here. Now, to get back to the Freeman Capital Management. So in regards to the claims that they're just there to stir up FUD, maybe they have a short position, whatever they might be, that they have an interest in the stock price going much lower so they can buy more shares or something like that as well. I don't think that that's the case. So at the end of the day, for a company like Freeman Capital Management to start going at and making these allegations in regards to Turnbull, Stephen Hurst, and also tying MindMed into everything and putting out press releases where they're making these claims and allegations against MindMed. If they were making these up out of thin air, they could get in a ton of trouble and legal trouble as well. So it's like, for people thinking that the Freemans woke up one day and decided, hey, we want to let's stir the pot in the MindMed community. It's like, we can do this. And just decide to start doing that. Like, guys, it's more nuanced than that. It's not just going to be they woke up one morning and decided, let's short MindMed and start this whole smear campaign. So I don't believe that. Obviously, I don't know how true all the allegations are, but what I do know this is what I do know. In regards to MindMed's response to the allegations around MM120 IP, this is what their official response is. MindMed currently owns and retains all clinical data and manufacturing rights for MM120. So, and this has been the response that MindMed has given, even when I asked Robert Barrow. So there is never really explicit yes or no to any agreements that might have gone on with Ceruvia or any other company. It's MindMed retains the rights or the exclusive rights to their IP. So what would make me feel a lot better, and why I still haven't kind of come out and accepted any of MindMed's responses to the Freeman stuff, is that I'd love for MindMed to just come out and be like, hey, the allegations in regards to Ceruvia are false. We do not have any deal with Ceruvia or any other company in regards to the MM120 intellectual property. So a binary yes or no answer, instead of saying MindMed retains all rights to their MM120 IP. So do you see the difference in responses, guys? So it's like you want them to completely acknowledge the question and give an answer to that question. Not answer it with, this is the corporate speak, which is, we have exclusivity to MM120 IP. And we're going to broaden that in the future, which doesn't matter in regards, like that statement. The second part doesn't really matter. Well, I didn't read it. The full statement, for you guys wondering, is MindMed currently owns and retains all clinical data and manufacturing rights for MM-120 and intends to continue broadening its intellectual property portfolio. So the part about intending to broaden their intellectual property portfolio doesn't matter in regards to what the statement they're making in regards to MM-120. So once again, what I would like is for MindMed to come out and give a binary yes or no while acknowledging the question. We do not have a deal and never had a deal with Ceruvia or any other company regarding freedom to operate for MM120. Or just, once again, just completely acknowledging that instead of a lot of the corporate speak we were getting. And I know a lot of times the corporate speak is unavoidable and it's done for legal reasons. But I think if there is no deal on the table with Ceruvia, MindMed should be able to come out and deny it completely. I don't want to hear the allegations are unfounded and this and that. I would want a yes or no, complete denial for it. So that's what would make me more, that's what would put my mind at ease in regards to some of the Freeman stuff going on. So that's what I'd want from MindMed. So, but at the end of the day, I think it's important to be super critical of everyone. Be critical of the Freemans. Be critical of Robert Barrow. Be critical of all parties involved, because at the end of the day, it's the retail investors who are being taken to task here in regards to, they were the largest percentage of ownership in MindMed. It was retail. And they are getting completely destroyed because of everything that has gone on. So from the reverse split all the way up to the Freeman stuff. So it's just not a good look. And MindMed is going to have to do a lot to regain investor sentiment, if that's even possible at this point. I think they still can. And like I said, it's going to take time, and we'll see what happens. And I'm very willing to become more optimistic in regards to MindMed's outlook as time goes on and more information comes out in regards to, obviously, any of the lawsuit stuff going on, and also just MindMed progressing their trials and strengthening their intellectual property, stuff like that. So yeah, I'm very willing to change my tune, but as of right now, my perspective on MindMed is I'm very critical of every move they're going to be making. It's going to be under a magnifying glass for myself. And they need to win back my good sentiment in general. And I'm happy to let them do that. But we'll see what happens. At this point, I wouldn't be looking to start any type of position just yet, or restart any type of position just yet. My perspective is to so we're still going to have more developments in regards to the Freeman stuff. I would let that play out fully, and then start to reassess my perspective around MindMed. But I think that it's too much of a gamble right now in regards to if anything that the Freeman say ends up being true and proven, then this can really do a number on MindMed's stock price. And granted, right now, the price that it's trading at is extremely low. It's lower than the cash that they have on hand. Like in terms of it doesn't make sense given the cash they have on hand. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of fear around MindMed right now, and they're in a very vulnerable position. Any type of negative catalyst that comes out can definitely hurt the company, and especially if it's stuff that's going on regarding insiders who used to work at MindMed, who still work at MindMed, whatever it is, who are making or whistleblowing on different things in regards to MindMed mishandling IP, and any deals that they might or might not have with other companies. So it's just be very critical and cautious of MindMed at the moment, and let's see how things kind of play out moving forward. And yeah, that's pretty much my perspective, is just to be extremely cautious, patient, and let's see kind of where the developments take the MindMed story. I appreciate each and every one of you. My name is Adam Tubero with psychedelicinvest.com. My Instagram and Reddit name, aliases are it's the same one. It's Waxingeloquence, WAXINGELOQUENCE. Feel free to reach out to me on there. And if you want to come on the show, if you want to talk about psychedelics, you want to talk about stocks, anyone, you can reach out to me on there. I'll also include my email in the description of this video, and you can reach out through email as well. I appreciate everyone in the community. Thank you so much for the support, and have a great day.